Well, wealth is many things to many people. Often we think of wealth only in one dimension, which is money. But I think there's also a lot to be said about wealth as in good health, which is equated to wealth, and also having a good family environment and support system that's also wealthy. So in my view, wealth is not just about money is important, financial rewards are important, but that's not the be all end all. I think it also has to be how you then contribute back to the community, and you are richer if you are a valued member of your community.
So wealth is just part of the freedom that you could get, right? Financial freedom. But I think wealth represents many other things. Like personally, I feel rich with the people that I work with. I enjoy working with them. And I think that is something that could carry you even further. That represent the wealth that you can create. It's not just between yourself, but also yourself with a lot of people that is around in your circle of trust.
You have to inspire, you have to have a great purpose as well. So that in the end, with all of these sustainability that creates wealth, that's great. But the question was, how do you start? But I think all of these could, in the end, attract that great energy.
Creating wealth just for the sake of wealth, I think is rather short term. You've got to have some idea or intent why you're doing it. Of course, in most cases, it starts with need, because you need to survive, and therefore you do a business or you take on a job or whatever it might be. But as time goes on, and with succeeding generations that are already wealthy, you have to question what you're actually in it for. How much is enough? Why are we in this position, and what can we do with it?
I wouldn't see it as just a monetary thing. It's how do you also contribute to society that they too develop? So it's a win-win situation. So whatever that the service that you're providing or the product that you're offering is not just creating wealth for the company or for yourself, but it's creating wealth for the society as well. It's contributing to society. It's for the betterment of the society.
Wealth and return comes from risk. You need to be very much aware of your attitude and appetite towards risk. So don't be fearful of risk, because risks come with returns. So every collapse in the market, every slowdown, every crisis is an opportunity for you.
Yeah, I think in terms of wealth creation, I thank God today we built a company worth 3 billion ringgit, example. It's something that I never dreamt of to reach to this kind of scale, right? So it's true enough that I think today I've created a fairly lumpy wealth for myself. But if you ask me in terms of money, I think is important. Of course, financial security is important. But I think in my case, I think managing those wealth that you have created, I think to me, it's just another numbers, right? That how much can you spend after all, right? So I think maybe my next phase of life, is to how I can do good with some of those wealth that I've created in terms of, helping other people and things like that. I think that will be more meaningful to me as in absolute things, So I think how my children didn't go through the difficult path on how I created the wealth for myself, because I don't come from a rich family. I created the wealth all by myself. So I think the children, that have those inheritance. In other words, I think I'm more worried in terms of, how I need to get them to see the value of money, to appreciate money in a proper manner than just, splurging all over and things like that. So I think that if that happened, I think then probably if you created the wealth with that kind of thing, it doesn't really very meaningful. Yeah.
You need to have the ability to give it away. To me, the concept of wealth is that it's not something that is outright yours. No, that's something that becomes automatically yours. It's somehow destined that the wealth is sort of like channeled to you, and how you want to use that wealth to benefit others. Again, whether or not the wealth is money, the wealth is wisdom, you need to be able to share the wealth.
To me, in terms of building a business, right, it's very important. I mean, in any business, of course, profitability is important, right? If you cannot make a profit, business cannot be sustained. But having said that, I think making money in an ethical way is very, very important, because I think there are so many people involved along your value chain, your people, your customer and things like that. So I think that value is very important in the sense that you have to start with the right value, how you hold true to it. And that is the key, I think, in terms of building a successful company. Once you are there, you then realize that not only you build a brand or a company that people love you, you are happy for yourself as well, because that is something that a business that you created is being appreciated by people. At the same time, you are profitable. I think that is very important.
I have two advice for them. One is to remember what Karl Marx mentioned. It's not about who is the fittest or the smartest who survive. It's actually those people who adapt to change. Be adaptable to changes, be flexible. Another one is my advice. Remember, regardless of how much you work hard for success, it depends also on luck. Luck and chance favor the prepared one.
First thing first, when you build a successful business, you need to be passionate about it, passionate about what you do, because otherwise, when something goes wrong, you might just give up. So you need to believe what you're doing. Secondly is you need to identify what is the problem, the pain points in the industry that you want to be in. If you're able to address that pain points, then I think you've got the business already, because it's an industry problem that you're solving.
You need to find the most impactful problem that you can solve and then stay on the course, because there's probably something there that your gut feel tells you that is what the universe puts you there for, that particular purpose, and you need to continue working on that.
For me, it has to have a purpose into society, impact in society. I want to give it back, pay it forward. That's kind of like a trending word. And also success is measured by who, right? So whatever makes you happy, I guess success could actually mean that to that extent as well.
So I think the first thing is you need to find the right business, the right market, and the right team to help you execute that. And I think combining that is really a lot of planning, a lot of execution, improvising, and not stopping in terms of having the passion to keep pursuing the end outcome. And that's going to be most important when it comes to making your business successful.
Be true to yourself. With any business that you're doing, you have to be very, I mean, there's a time and a place where you need to understand whether what you're doing makes sense anymore and how you can continue to improve it. So you have to be true to yourself, because very often I come across people who keep at it because they feel that they don't want to face the reality that maybe it's cheaper or better for them to get out of that particular business. It's being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, it's not about just succeeding, it's about knowing how to deal with the failures as well.
I think you have to understand what got you there, what you intend to do having achieved what you want to achieve. But I think if you already have, how do you measure success? Is having so many dollars in a bank account, is that your measurement of success? Is it the ability for you to feed 10,000 families? Is that a measurement of success? Are you able to do something for a certain number of people in terms of providing for their health or for their education or some other needs? Where is that measurement? So I think sometimes you may never reach it, right? So I think you have to determine for yourself, what is your measurement? What is it that you feel is a benchmark for yourself? And it's very hard to benchmark against other people, but I think you have to look at yourself and say, look, I think I have done what I set out to do. And of course I would like to do more, but I think I've reached this level now that whatever it might be, you can tick those boxes and say, I think I've reached the level of success that I thought I was able to do when I started this journey.
I think happiness comes from fulfillment, right? So which essentially means that if today you are able to deliver a promise to your people, to your team members, and together all of you are pursuing that mission, and that mission gives you the outcome, and I think everyone feels happy about it. So that would, in my words, the most happiest moment ever, the fulfillment that we all eventually able to get.
Happiness to me is about having the opportunity and the ability to help others achieve their dreams and their goals, because we all have our superpowers, and it's our responsibility to help others and say, okay, what does that person want to achieve? Yeah, and try and work with them, because sometimes we attain that wisdom to our experience, and I think they mentioned that the best person learns from the mistake of others. So don't wait others until they make mistake. Offer that wisdom so that they avoid the mistake altogether. And I think once you're able to do that, then I think to me you're able to achieve that sense of happiness, to see other people being successful.
I'm not a Buddhist. Technically I'm a Christian, but I like the Buddhist philosophy about detachment or attachment, whichever way, right? I think in the sense that if you are attached to or you desire certain things and if you don't achieve it, you are unhappy as a result. So I find that if you're able to detach and find a way that you are satisfied with what you've done, what you have, and you can be happy within that, I think that's the greatest gift. If you keep on desiring more and more, and you don't know where that's going to end, it eats you up. So that's my advice to my children would be to look at it this way. You have to find that level, but at the same time, all the time, be detached to a lot of physical stuff. You don't need another car, you don't need another house, and so on, right? So I think that's very important. So what is it, the intrinsic thing that would make you so-called happy? And I think a person who doesn't have those physical needs is probably a very happy person.
Again, I'm going back to my manifesto, Ikigai, purpose in life. You definitely have to find out your own very unique selling point about what only you have. Just map out what your passion is, what your skill lies. Just a simple thing like what do you really like to do and what you are good at. Just to find that out, and then the work and integration, we all have to work at some point, right? To put food on the table by means, and that if it can become a work and life integration, Ikigai, that makes you a happy person every day. There's not a need to say I need to do this, but I want to do this. I wake up, I will not have a Monday blues, for example.
Again, it's not monetary, it's not just about wealth, it's about having love and family around you. Because when things don't go the way you expect it to be, you would need family and friends to be around you to give that support, and that's really important. And I think happiness again is a matter of being able to feel content about yourself, knowing that you have also contributed to the society around you, not just on yourself, basically, and to stay true to yourself. So whether when you're rich or when you're in a powerful position, that you're true to yourself and you don't develop into something else that's different, really. So you've got to really understand your principles and know where you come from, and I think you could achieve true happiness with that.
Happiness is an illusion. It depends on what you mean by happiness and what drives happiness. So happiness is about what you feel and how you define. Happiness is not about comparing with what other people achieve, because that's competition. It's not happiness. Find your own true happiness. Define what drives it.
Happiness is somewhat related to wealth, but in my definition of wealth, as I said, if you've got a good you've got a good family environment, you've got a few good friends, I think and you've got some money, I think that's probably the key to happiness. Plus good health, of course, because I've met in my journey, I've seen a lot of people where, they have a lot of money, but they're actually miserable and they don't feel wealthy and they wish that they could have done things differently. And we live in a very fast moving environment, a very fast paced environment today. I think we need to sometimes take stock of what we have, the loved ones we have around us, and tell them that they mean a lot to us. I think that's one of the more important things. So to me, happiness is about having family and good friends and a little bit of wealth. Money, not just wealth.